Apparently it's live. Apparently. That work? They've changed it, you see. It's like studio beta now. So it's like, eh? Midtown. Shown. Go. It working. Is it live? It's alive, gents, is it? We're alive and kicking. What is the crack? Yeah, don't mess up the cameras too much. We're painting orcs. What's the story? Who have we got in the house? We've Squeak Bosses here. Vanhammer, Mork and Gork, Pale Green Git, Steve-O's rocked up. Poke Cactus is here. What's the crack? What's the crack? How we all doing, gents? Are we all keeping? Hope you've been painting miniatures. Look, Steve-O, I'm painting grots. It's not just you. We've got some undercoating to do. So I'm gonna be painting grots. I've got 10 of them lined up. I've already started on 3 of them. I just undercoat them in Abaddon black. Then I'm gonna be hitting them up with Elysian green for the base coat. And then I'll see if I can give them a wash of Etonian camo shade. And then Ogren camo. So hopefully for this stream I managed to get that'll be the skin done. So I reckon with the grots I'll start with the skin and then work my way out. I'll probably hit like some of their cloth with Zandri dust and then whatever other browns and stuff I get my hands on. Maybe some greys. I don't think I'll bother giving the grots camouflage pants. Basic miniature paintings here. What is the crack? Basic miniature painting. Poke Cactus says he's still got 90 to go. Oh, Poke Cactus. I have a metric butt ton of these dudes that need to be painted. I know Steve-O has a fair few for his mech guns. Because you get, I think you get about 6 in the mech gun sprue. So you get a few of them there. But I've loads of them. I've absolutely buckets. I've bags of them that still aren't even. That's a whole bag of grots. I bought a load of grots off of my mate. Second hand, pretty cheap. Like I don't even know how many's in there. There's probably like 50 or 60 or something. But I've that bag there that's not built. I'm pretty sure I still have a couple on sprue. And then like I've some old school. So I've loads of them. I've loads of the gits. I was joking that you could make like an 800 point orc army out of 270 grots. Because it's like each battalion you could do like 3 mobs of 30. You know what I mean? So like 90, 180, 270. You could do it, like it'd be absolute madness. Like 1,000 point game, you've got like 270 plus models. You could do it. You'd be mad, but you could do it. What's the crack? Who else is here? Green Tide 40k. You're late. We've only just started, mate. You're not too late. It's grand. We have only just started. For those of you just joining, I am starting on my grots. So what are you guys going to be working on tonight? Are you painting up orcs? He's painting up some other miniatures. I'm just trying to get some grots done. Still aiming for that 2,000 points by the end of the year, but I think 30 points of grots isn't putting much of a dent in. But I was like, well, you know, have to give the grots some love as well eventually. So I'm just doing some base coats at the moment. I really should be priming with my airbrush, but my priming station is pretty much a glorified shelf at the moment. It's just full of sprue. And yeah, I'll clear that off eventually. I think that's what I need to do is I need to work the old airbrush. To speed the process up a bit, make a bit of space and get some painting done. Do like an assembly line. Have most of them built already, so that would kind of help in the long run. We'll get them done. I was thinking about painting the grots grey, but then tonally I didn't want them too different from my orcs. So when I'm doing my orcs, I do Death World Forest, then I do like Elysian Green. I do Death World Forest, then I do a wash, and then I do like an Elysian Green highlight. And then characters, I'd like hit up their faces on some of the edges with Agrin Camo. Or Ogrin Camo, sorry. So what I'm doing with the grots is I'm making them brighter again. So they're only going to be like what I'd use for highlights and final highlights. So I'm going to do this with me grots and then show the shade on in between. So they'll be a little bit brighter than the orcs. They won't be as light. And I was thinking of doing like a light grey undercoat, but I think tonally, like it would, they'd look too different from the orcs. I think I need to do them black. I don't know, like we're doing the first 10 here. Worst case scenario, I'm not too chuffed and I repaint these 10. It's not the end of the world, but you know, it's like pulling teeth when it comes to grots. Steve O's just saying he got in the door from work. Gonna get my he's gonna get his stuff together while listening and try to get a bit more done on mine. Yeah, that's it, man. Well, you're not the only one painting grots tonight. I've decided to join in the slog with the grots. Oh, Cactus says he loves painting grots, but he doesn't know why. They're characterful. I could understand. Like, they are very characterful little gits. I can understand liking painting them. There's a lot of detail on them, mind you. There's a lot of detail on all, you know, nearly all the orc stuff. So, I can understand liking them. They are characterful. I like them myself. But I like a lot of the old school ones as well. Have few stashed away. Hopefully the shelf doesn't follow me here. I have a few of the metal ones as well. So these are, oh, what's it called? There was like a little sort of scenario you could buy. I think it was about 5-6 years ago when the last, before the last codex. I think it was the 4th edition codex came out. There was like a little pack you could buy that was called Thieving Grots. And it was like the likes of this guy where it's like he's got a helmet full of teeth. I have them all here. I need to dig them out a little bit. And then there's another one who's got like a bag of teeth. And then I've got like some of the other ones. So I have like the Gorka Morka Grots. So I have a mixed bag of them. I've like the new ones. They'd have like head honchos. So there's like Grot characters. So I've like the newer generation ones. Oh, I'll just throw them everywhere. I've got the newer generation ones. I've loads of them. I've got a load of the Gorka Morka ones. I've some of the more sort of specialized ones you don't really see much of anymore. And then I think I have a bag of the 2nd edition plastic ones stashed away. The only ones I don't have a lot of are the Rogue Trader ones, but I do have a few of the Grot Helpers from Rogue Trader era. I bought a load of them. Like there's another Gorka Morka one, and I think I even have some of the snots, another Gorka Morka one, all the metal ones. The shelf wants to fall on its ass, but yeah, I've loads of them, and a varied selection. I think the likes of these would look pretty cool, and I think I've even got the red gobbo in there somewhere. Whatever, there's a whole shelf full of stuff, a whole drawer. Maybe you guys can't see that well. I'll get more black paint out. We'll go from there. Who is chatting away? Squeak Boss, Steve Oz, like the live stream. Oh, Squeak Boss is up to his antics as always. Fair play. Pale Green Git is painting cans and boys tonight. Sweet, man. Hopefully you get them done. I think cans are alright, like they're not as good as they used to be, but they're not, you know, shockingly bad either. I think they're pretty solid. And boys, it's like you'll always be painting boys. I think I'll be buried with unpainted boys miniatures, like of that many of them. You know what I mean? When it's my time to kick the bucket, there'll still be unpainted miniatures, as is always the way. You'll have a load of unpainted miniatures, but you'll still somehow manage to, you know, buy more. But I have actually been selling quite a few miniatures lately. I've been getting rid of a lot of the stuff I don't need because I've been shifting gears, sort of. I'm just getting a load of Abaddon Black onto my palette here just to undercoat more of these gits. Yeah, I've been shifting gears a little bit. I've been messing around with BattleTech lately. I haven't really been playing much 40k, but I still enjoy painting the miniatures. I still enjoy painting the miniatures when I do get around to it, but I'm just fine with 40k. Me personally, I'm just not enjoying playing this edition, so I'm like, eh. But I've been messing around with BattleTech lately. What I've been doing. Gaming was, I've actually been playing quite a lot of BattleTech and enjoying it. It's good crack. And I'm waiting for the Gaslands. The new rulebook is coming out in middle of next month. I've pre-ordered mine off of Amazon, so I'm waiting until I get my hands on that before I start messing around with some of the cars that I have. So I'm sort of spreading my hobby foo out. It's not all just concentrated on 40k orcs anymore. Like, I have a few of the BattleTech miniatures here that I was looking at, and when you get them, they're like one-piece miniatures. Like, I tried to get into BattleTech like 10 years ago. It wasn't my cup of tea. Fans just hanging out. Grab a paintbrush, fan, get some painting done. Green Tides, batch painting 20 boys. I think I should have tried doing it 10 at a time instead. Oh yes, Green Tide 40k, that is a great idea. Don't do 30 at a time. I tried that last year and I got painters burnout and I just gave up on the bugger. So try break them down into groups of 10. Helps massively. Massively. Really does. Because when you see the progress on those 10, you get motivated. And then what I found is I put those 10 in the case. Take the next 10 out. Like, leave all of the miniatures you want to paint in a case. So take them out 10 at a time, paint those 10, put them back. Take out the next 10, paint them, put them back. And take out the last 10 out of the group of 30. And then when you're finishing those one off, you know what I mean? I found it's like you're trying to trick yourself psychologically. I find that I progress a lot better when there's 10 of them because you see you progress through them. Whereas me personally, when there's 30, it's like you'll get 10 done and you're like, oh, I still have 20 to do. You know what I mean? Or if you're doing 10 uniforms, or you're doing 10 guys, 15 guys, the skin, I think 30 is too much to take on for me personally all at once. I found taking bite-sized chunks, so groups of 10, and then mix it up with something, paint something totally different. Like the Iron Warriors is what got me back into painting, because it was something totally different to the orcs. When I was doing the kill team, that's what got me my painting feel back up. So break it up with something different as well. I find that helps get over the painter's block. But yeah, I had a dose of that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking at the BattleTech stuff. I tried to get into it years ago, but I wasn't too enamored with the miniatures. Okay, this is working on a Grell army, like 100 York, 6 Mex guns, 10-ish cans, 10 Grell tanks, and a mega tank. That's a lot of painting. A lot of painting. Squig boss is building a boss. Pale green git. Hope we'll get some progress tonight. I don't have to finish at Death Dread. Well, hopefully we all get some progress done tonight. I find quite a lot of people have been saying to me that they actually get some painting done. They find it quite useful, which is surprising. Because I barely get anything done. I end up just more chatting and typing away and digging up stuff. But I like it. I enjoy it. It's a bit of crack. The green ones here. Oh, Cactus is happy about the Metal Rebel Grots. Marcus is here. What's the story, Marcus? Green Tide 40k says he's a bunch of old metal snotlow. I think I have a little baggie of them stashed away. You know what I'm like. I probably have like orcs and snotlings and squigs coming out of my ears. There's bits of stuff everywhere. Cactus saying they look really cool when you mix them all together. They do look pretty cool when you mix them all together. I was thinking of doing them in like blocks. So like do 30 second aid and 30 of them that are Gorka Morka, and then do like units that are the newer ones. I could do it that way, but mix them up is probably a better idea. Van Hammer's like, yeah, you got a lot of everything, don't you? No, back in the day you had a metric ton of figs. It hasn't really changed that situation. I don't think it's. Well, I've gotten a few more since then, but I've started to cut back now. I've started actually, like, I bought like quite a few figures just to convert them into stuff, but I'm just getting rid of them. There's like boxes of stuff I have, and I've just been selling them off locally and getting the money together And I don't know, maybe I'll get myself a new phone so I can try and do battle reports. You know what I mean? I don't know, I'll see what the story is, but I need to cut, like, Jesus Christ, like, there's loads of them. I'm cutting back on a few of the kits I don't need. A lot of Imperial Guard stuff I bought to convert, so I'm just getting rid of that stuff and just clearing out. I'm focusing on getting some BattleTech stuff, because I jumped in on the Kickstarter, which was about $300, but don't tell the missus, like, Jesus. But yeah, I tried to get into BattleTech before. But the problem I have is my friend has given me a lend of some of the miniatures. So these are from... This miniature on my right hand side is from the new box set they have, which is like the 35th anniversary of BattleTech. These new guys that came out last year. But 10 years ago when I was trying to get into BattleTech, these were the miniatures that they had. And they're just dire. Like, I tried to get into BattleTech 10 years ago, but I just wasn't happy with the sculpts. But now it's like look at the size difference. Let alone the actual quality. Like, it's way, like, this, the new miniatures are like, they're absolutely ace, man. There's a massive difference between them. Like, the quality of the casting, and it's just like, it's super handy. They are really good casts. So I think now was the right time for me to be interested in BattleTech. I like the miniatures. I like how the game plays. Beforehand, I liked how the game played, but I just didn't like the miniatures. But like I said, they're doing a whole Kickstarter thing, so there's a whole new load of BattleTech stuff. So I think it's March next year. It's the first wave of the new Kickstarter miniatures to come out. And I'll be going through all the miniatures that I'll be getting then, and I'll show you. But I have both of the starter sets. So this is an old miniature that my friend gave me a lend of. I have another example here, another fun example of why I didn't start playing BattleTech 10 years ago. So these guys are the same miniature. This is from the newer box set, the 35th anniversary one, and this one was from the 25th anniversary sort of box set. It's like chalk and cheese, man. It really is. It's just crazy. But yeah, these guys are sweet. These new miniatures, and they come assembled. You can chop them up and change them if you want and convert them. But they do look pretty sweet. So yeah, I've gotten like 2 of the box sets. There's 2 starters. Yeah, it's pretty starter sets. So there's like the beginner box. This is like less than €20. You only get 2 miniatures in it, but it'll get you started. So there's this one, which I think is less than €20. That's pretty cool. I'll be doing a review of that soon enough. And then there's Game of Armored Combat. I think this is about 45 or something like that. And I think you get like 8 miniatures. So you get a lot more. The other one's kind of like beginner-ish rules, but this one's a lot more detailed. It's a lot more fun. But yeah. So that's what I've been messing with. If you've been wondering why I haven't really been doing orc videos, it's because I've been messing around with BattleTech. It's not that I'm going to stop doing orc stuff. Clearly I'm painting grots, but I'll be doing other stuff. Like when the Gaslands rulebook comes out, I'm going to be doing Gasland stuff as well. I'm just waiting for that new rulebook to come out. I'm going to be doing BattleTech. We're still going to be doing 40k stuff and 40k orc stuff. So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm going to be doing a good few bits and pieces, messing around with stuff. Going from there. Dim Reaper's in. What's the story, Dim? Big boss. Okay, how can 10 people... Oh, he's giving out about not liking. Green Toy 40k. I find it's not fun for me. I paint because I like it. But I'm finding myself thinking most of the time, like, how many more? Yeah, I think 40k can be a bit like that. And it doesn't help when you go off the deep end like me. And you have a massive collection, a massive hoard that needs painting. And you're sort of staring at the end of the gun barrel. It just depends. Like I said, breaking it up kind of helps. So even with the BattleTech stuff, it's when I'm playing this game, like I'm going to be playing a game of BattleTech against my friend on Wednesday down in the local gaming store, and I'm bringing, like, the game we're going to play will probably last for 3 or 4 hours, and we're bringing 5 miniatures each. Like, it's smaller scale game, the version we're playing. It's played on hexes. So even if you were to get like another game, and break up the monotony, so like if I paint a battle mech and then maybe I'm on with 30 boys, something different, just to mix it up, or if you have like a second 40k army or something different. So I can understand why people get in by more than one 40k army. It probably really helps if you have something totally different. Probably not another horde army would be a good idea, a good strategy. Painting wise, it all depends, like what you like painting and what you like doing. But yeah, skirmish games are Gaslands, painting the Gaslands cars. Like teams are 50 cans, so you could do that. That could be a couple of cars. You could have loads of fun. If you're anything like Jeff, though, Jesus, I think Jeff's bought like 300 cars. I think he's secretly becoming a Hot Wheels car collector, pretending for Gaslands. For anyone who doesn't know, Engineer Jeff is one of my friends who does live streams on Wednesdays. He's gotten into Gaslands. If you go to my channel, or if somebody wants to post up a link in the chat, go check him out. Mork and Gork is asking, are the Battletech minis plastic? They are plastic. They are plastic miniatures. They're pre-assembled. So they come, like, so this miniature, it comes glued together and it comes glued to its base. So this miniature is made up of like 2 arms, its torso, and 2 legs. And what a lot of people tend to do is, or even its legs are actually a couple of parts. Some guys like chop it up and change it. They get like jeweler saws and they want to change the poses of them. But the beauty of it is they're pre-built. So if you just want to play the game, you can play the game. But you can have fun. There's nothing stopping you from converting this a little bit and making it all orky and giving it like teeth and stuff. Because in Battletech there are pirates, and there's also rules for making your own battle mechs. So you can go crazy in this game. You know what I mean? You just have to agree with whoever you're playing with. But yeah, there's so much. Do it. You can just play the game where it's just mechs fighting each other. But me and my friends we play with the Total War rulebook. And then there's Alpha Strike. So there's 2 versions of Battletech. There's like classic Battletech, which is played on hexes. And then there's what's called Alpha Strike, which is more streamlined and allows you to play with more miniatures. And it's more like 40k because you just use like tape measure and you'll use a battlefield. You know what I mean? But you'll use the same miniatures. So it's cool in that regard. It's just interesting. I'm finding it very, you can tell I'm a little bit excited. I really enjoy playing it. It's good crack. Walking Cork, most Battletech minis are plastic. Some of the really old ones are metal. Yeah, some of the really old ones are metal. They're made by a company called Ironwind Metals. I'm not a massive fan of a lot of the old sculpts. Like they still produce some of the stuff from the 80s. And some of it looks good, but some of it's hit and miss. But a lot of the new, like all of this newer stuff is all new resculpts. And it's looking pretty schmexy. You know what I mean? I'm liking I'm liking the look of a lot of it. So if anyone's interested in getting into another war game, like me, I think now is probably the best time to get into Battletech. If you were ever thinking about getting into a decent war game and you were looking to dip your toe, I think now's a good time to get into Battletech. There's actually quite a few people who've been like, oh, I'm going from 40k and I'm trying something out. Or there's old school dudes who are like, I haven't played Battletech in years. I didn't really like the miniatures, but all these new miniatures that are coming out look really good. So, there's a bit of that going on as well. Quite a lot of people going to it. So yeah, we'll be enjoying it. We'll be playing a bit of it. Steve, I feel like some of the epic stompers and gargants would be cool to use as counts as in Battletech. There is absolutely nothing stopping you from using a gargant as a mech. You can make your own rules for it and then just play a game in Battletech with your mate. Just come up with rules for stomp it. Like there's weapons like auto cannons and lasers and missile launchers and stuff. So you'd use whatever rules for whatever weapons you wanted. Like I think I have an epic stomper there. Show you what the difference is. Like if we look, this is one of the heavier mix, so it's actually pretty big. But these are supposed to be about like 4 to 6 stories tall, depending on them. They go by tons. So this one's a little guy, but he's not. He's a little bit smaller than some of the. Like this is this is called an assault mech class. I think I could be wrong. There are smaller mechs. Hold on, let me grab one out of the box. There are smaller mechs, but you could. There's nothing stopping you from. Nothing stopping you from having a bit of fun with the computer mech. So like the Stompa is not too far off. This is a light mech called a Locust. It's like a scout mech, but you can make you could make stats for the Stompa and give it like just make it slow and give it loads of armor, and then you'd probably give it like an auto cannon or something like that. There's there's rules for everything in BattleTech. Like there's rules for close combat weapons. Like mechs punch each other. There's like jump jets. You can there's an attack called Death from Above, where basically if this big guy had jump jets, he could jump and then land on top of the other guy and do damage because he's like, it's cool. I'm really enjoying it. I really am, and I would advise anyone to give it a go if you're thinking of trying something new. Get your hands on the starter sets. I think I bought mine from Firestorm Games in the UK. There are some UK retailers out there who sell them. It's just, it's fun. As you can tell, I'm a bit like super excited about it. But yeah, you can make your own rules. So I was thinking there's like pirates. So you could do tons of fun. Alexander is there. Hey, Alexander. How much have you missed? Not much, mate. Not much at all. We're just painting some grots. We're chugging away. Sorry if I'm a bit slow on the chat. I'm a bit excited talking about BattleTech as always. The Green Tide. Speaking of smaller scale games, Warcry looks like a fun, easy game. A buddy of mine is putting together a campaign/tournament less than 1 hour for a game, feeling in a certain way. Yeah, smaller games are fun. Because I found like even with 40k, I just kind of got sick of lugging so much stuff around. You know what I mean? Like I'd make a 2,000 point army, and I'd be bringing like 2 cases. I'd be bringing the large sort of like Crusader case and then a smaller case as well. Like I'd be bringing a lot of cases with me. I think that's why when I was living in London, I played a lot of Battlefleet Gothic, because it was just in a small skirmish case, and you didn't need a lot of miniatures. And I really like the rule set. So I can see the appeal of small skirmish games, like if you were playing Kill Team or Warcry or Gaslands or whatever, you know what I mean? We're spoiled for choice. It's just find a war game, convince some of your mates to play it, and away you go. You know what I mean? The Gaslands is probably the cheapest. I think it's 20 quid for the book. Oh, it's cheaper than that. I think it's less than 20 quid for the Gaslands book, and then you're buying Hot Wheels cars, which are like €2 or less. I think they're like $1.50. You know what I mean? Van Hammer saying it's good to break up the figs, especially with horde armies. Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Orc stuff. Look, I said alarmed. Tube. Yeah, that's true. Orc stuff. That's true. Welcome to the stream. We're painting up grots. Alexander Warren is asking what we're painting up. I'm painting up a unit of 10 grots. I'm just getting some base coats in, and then we'll get the skin going. Hopefully I'll get the skin done by the end of the 2 hours. Get some progress on them. It's, yeah, I'm laughing. It's like only 30 points towards 2,000. Don't forget, guys, we have the Discord. So if you want to post up your pictures, show them into the live stream work in progress into the Discord, and we'll have a look at them near the end of the stream. But we're going to be going for a while now anyway, so we're only in the first quarter of it. We're soldiering along. I'm actually making good progress on these grots for once. They're fun and interesting. They're quirky, but thankfully there's not too much painting in them. So yeah, I couldn't do a second Horde army. Sweet Jesus. Like, I like the Nids and I like Imperial Guard, but it's not happening. It's just not. It's not happening. I thought about it and I was like, nah. It was just the cost and just not happening. Green Tide 40k saying that I painted up a single splintered fang so far. Well, there you go. Squig Boss is asking what happened to me beard. I trimmed it. It was annoying me, so I trimmed it and then it grew back a bit. What beards do, apparently. Green Tide 40k starts singing about a baby stomp, but that's the last thing. Don't be trying to earworm me there. Hans Gruber's here. Hey Hans, what did you miss? Not much. We've primed like 6 or 7 gruts so far, and we've been chatting about BattleTech and Gaslands. Is anybody else going to be getting the new Gaslands rulebook? It's out, I think, the 19th of September in Europe, or some date like that. I've pre-ordered mine off of Amazon when I ordered my Total Warfare rulebook for BattleTech. And I'll be messing around with some Gaslands cars. Well, I have some there, but they're just Hot Wheels cars for now. Get them done. Have some fun. Show some 50 cars. Do some scratch building. Some Rams. Some guns. Some DACA. Maybe the odd orky paint job or two. Bit of crossover. There's no harm in it. I think I need to get my hands on some metal mesh. This metal mesh you use for car bodies repairs. Need to go down to the local auto store and get some of that for the windscreens. But apart from that, I have a green stuff tube maker. I've loads of scraps of plastic card, and then you can use like 40k bits, like chain swords and stuff. Just have fun. I'd be interested to do like roll cages and to jack up some of the running gear. So like put off-road shocks and stuff on some of the vehicles, like lift them. That'd be fun. I think I could do some of that with the plastic card. That'd be a bit of crack. Green Toy 40k saying I don't mind taking 100 to 150 model places, but having 3 to 4 hours at time is tough, especially during the summer and kids. Yeah, if you have kids, like my brother, I got him some 40k miniatures, but he just doesn't get time with his young fella, with me nephew. Just be bouncing off the walls, that young fella. So my brother doesn't really get time to paint. I don't have any sprugs of my own for now, but probably why I'm better off getting the painting done. Or there's little people running around. Mind you, at this time of the night, hopefully kids will be in bed. That's why I tend to do it between 9 and 11. It's hopefully folk get a chance to put their kids to sleep. Joining the hobby. I know you guys, they were stateside. It's a bit earlier in the day. Depending on what coast you're on. But I think it's a reasonable hour all around. It's not too bad. Be decent enough. Marcus is saying maybe Black Templars if we get the new box. I heard about that. The whole Black Templars and like the new Gazgul type. I'm like, whatever. I've heard of like Gazgul and Primaris Orcs before. If a new box set comes out and there's something interesting in it, I might get it. But if it's a new box set and it's just like repackaged stuff, or it's stuff I have already that's sort of just being resculpted, like if it's new boys, I'm like, I've loads of boys. But if we get like a decent HQ character or something, I might buy it and just sell the rest of it to cover the cost. I don't know. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm keeping myself busy with other things. I won't be too bitterly disappointed. We'll just see how it goes. I'm cautiously optimistic, I think, is the best way to be. in regards to rumors of that regard. We've been born before, lads. You know what I mean? There's only so many borns you can take before you start on, you know, just being like, yeah, if it happens, it happens. Ian White showed up. Hey, Ian. You still on your holiday, mate, are you? Or are you back? Walking Cork, yeah, I'm waiting for the new rulebook before I get into Gaslands. Yeah, same here, mate. I'm waiting for that new rulebook to come out. Like I said, I pre-ordered it. I think you can pre-order off of Amazon. It's like a discount price. Tim Reaper said he pre-ordered through North Star. They're throwing in one free sprue of their new Gaslands conversion sprue with pre-orders. Yeah, I remember you talking about that, Tim Reaper. You said it was a plastic sprue done by that company that has some like conversion bits. So come in handy for some people. No harm. Landhammer, I want to build some Gaslands. Not sure if the get the book. I'm not much for getting out and gaming anymore. Well, yeah, it all depends, man. It's not like it's gonna break the bank, though. You know what I mean? It's like I think it's like $16, $18. It's no more than $20. I don't think so. I don't think it's more than 20 bucks. It might just be interesting for builds, but it all depends. Maybe we should get Jeff to go out and have a gaming session with you at some point. Might be a good idea. No harm in that. Like, it seems like a pretty pretty easy game to approach, just for accessibility. Once you have a rulebook and just some Hot Wheels cars, you know, away you go. We'll see what happens. Be interesting. I'd get the rulebook, even if I didn't manage to get any games in. I'd get the rulebook just so I can see what different teams there are and a bit of the game fluff. Maybe there'd be some inspiration in it. You know, some of the structure for how you're going to build things, that type of thing. I'd like to, me personally, but yeah, I can understand some people not wanting to get the rulebook and just wanting to convert cars. That could be fun in and of itself. Green Tide is saying it's 6 hours behind over there. Oh, so it's like 3:30. Okay, that's not too bad, I suppose. Saying all models need box for sell the mesh. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a Halford's not too far away. Poke Cactus is saying, I hope it's not new boys. Mono pose is scary. Yeah, they're doing a lot of that with a lot of the newer stuff where it's all just mono pose. And this guy is probably a bad example because he's like one of the plague dudes where he's just sort of push fit, but I'm sure you can convert these, but they just look like a pain in the ass. Like, they're highly detailed. That's the good thing about this monopose type thing, but apart from that, it's a lot of the same. But it all depends, like, you know what I mean? It doesn't bother me too much. But when you've hordes upon hordes of them, like if you're only gonna have one miniature, I don't mind too much. But if you're gonna have hordes upon hordes of them, or you want a custom war boss, and it's all like monopose stuff, that's when you're gonna have issues. So it kind of conflicts with the player base for orcs, that mentality of having your own custom war boss and custom miniatures. I think we would be better off with multi-part plastic kits that are posable. But I don't. Yeah, it's just the way Games Workshop are gone. I think you're right, Pocactus, where it's like they redo the standard orc buzz. We're gonna see a lot of like static stuff where maybe like one or two of the legs. Like if you look at the Savage Oryx, I think they're called, where it's like both of the legs and one of the arms is just static, and then the other arm and the front part of the torso just slots in, and it's like you don't really, like, in order to get like, you know, basic poses, you've got a lot of chopping to do. It's an awful lot of effort. You know what I mean? Alex is saying he watched the 6+ Steve-O video on the rumors. Well, yeah, Steve-O can't help himself when it comes to the rumors, Alex. He bleeding loves them. I'm not much of a rumors guy. So like every now and then I might say something, but otherwise I'm like, jeez, whatever happens, you know? He's saying he's building a Morkanov for casting. Sweet, man. Marcus is asking where can you get the cast. Well, go torment Ian. He has a channel. Torment him about where to get them. Alex is saying some people are into the hobby just for painting and not actually gaming. Yeah, there's quite a lot of people like that. There's like different aspects of the hobby. Like some people are really into playing the game and don't really like painting. I sort of sometimes I'm in that category. Then there's some people who don't like gaming at all and just like painting. There's some people who like converting and coop bashing stuff. And then, you know, I think all hobbyists have different levels of that hobby pie, sort of, you know, between whether you like painting or don't like painting, or you like playing the game or you don't like playing the game, or you like doing conversions and scratch builds and kit bashes and all that type of stuff. All those different aspects of the hobby. But it's always fun that it draws in so many different people who have different sort of opinions and different views on things, or different interpretations of miniatures. You know what I mean? Different paint jobs. It's always kind of fun. See what people decide to do. But yeah, I can understand folk just like painting the miniatures. Because like I said, I gave my brother a few miniatures just to paint, just to try it out, and he just found it sort of he was surprised that he actually liked painting it. And then there's Mrs. Skarnir as well. She never painted miniatures. I got her to paint some miniatures, and she was surprised as well that she enjoyed sitting painting, because I think you just sort of, you switch off. You sort of, you get into like a zen sort of area when you're painting and you're just chilling. So yeah, it can be like relaxing and therapeutic for people. I can understand that, all right. Understand just liking painting. For some people, maybe the potential confrontation of playing the game doesn't help. It can be a bit competitive, depending on who you're playing against. I can understand some people not wanting to be in that social situation. Maybe they're not able to handle it, or they're just not interested in it. You know? There's strokes for different folks. People are saying I've been more productive with Gaslands in a few months than I've been with Games Workshop in years. Really fun. Yeah, you've been going crazy on the old conversions there. They look sweet, man. You look sweet. Underdog Paintings here. How are you doing? Welcome. Thanks for joining. Trying to throw some green on some gruts. Hopefully not making too much of a shambles of it. The own base colors. I'm like, maybe I could have like bought some contrast paints, but I've already sort of decided on my paint palette and the paints that I want to use, so I didn't really see. Like, did any of you guys really get onto the whole contrast paints bandwagon? I didn't really, for two reasons. It's like, one, if I did and I decided to go with it, I'd have to repaint like 60 to 80 of the boys I've already painted, and that ain't happening. And two, it's like the cost. Like the pots are like €6 or €7 or something like that. I think they're more expensive than the washes, but this wasn't something I found myself interested in investing in. But I don't know. Some people seem to enjoy it. I could understand if you're only getting into the hobby, that it might be a good investment to get into contrast paints, but they don't seem very forgiving to me if you make mistakes. Like with this grot here, I can afford to be sloppy and just paint it on his top, because I'm going to paint over his top eventually when I come to the next paint. But with contrast paints, you know, wouldn't be so so forgiving. But I reckon people probably get the most use using them with the rest of the Games Workshop line. You know, maybe try and speed up one aspect of painting, maybe just painting the skin, speed up painting that. Understand that. Wonder how many of you guys had a crack at it. Having a laugh. Yeah, the Gasland book will look. Weapons. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Alexander, I'm just loving the Plague figurine. Yeah, he's pretty sweet. I haven't touched him yet. I tell you, it was the Conquest magazine. I subscribed to it for a while. but I cancelled it eventually. I just found it wasn't great value for money. You know, I think it was like 50 and 60, and then they were adding in extra stuff. And I just wasn't, you know what I mean? There's a backlog of miniatures that need to be built. Brother will be kept entertained for a few months at least, maybe years, with the miniatures that came out of it. He went for the Primaris ones, and I went for the Plague. So, Plague Marine dudes. Not that I really want another army, I was just like, yeah, I'll paint along as well. I think I painted a few of them. I don't see if they're not handy on my desk, but yeah, I painted like 3 Plague Marines. And a few of the, few of those Plague Zombies. They look like fun to paint. You've seen the new Weird Boy. Which new Weird Boy? The new Weird Boy? News to me. I've been distracted with Battletech, I have to say. Mind you, if there was a new Weird Boy, I'm pretty sure that Steve-O would have said something to me. As I was saying, I hate painting, but I love painting what I build. It's like the icing on the cake. I know that does not make sense. It depends. I kind of get what you're saying. Like if you do a conversion, and it's like plastic card and green stuff and all these various bits and pieces, I find visually a paint job will tie it all together. So maybe it's that sort of aspect, that part of it, that kind of visually brings it together, and then it's like a finished sort of miniature at that stage. You know what I mean? Marcus is saying there's some new orc dice coming out in a couple of weeks. Don't bleeding talk to me about orc dice. The last orc dice I bought were these bleeding yolks, and Jesus, they're bleeding shocking. Like the color that they showed advertised is totally different. Like the only way you'd be able to read them is if you paint them. I painted one of them orange, and then the skull white so you could see. But like, boy Jesus, Games Workshop on the decent dice design are not two things I would say in the same sentence normally. They are a bit shocking. So yeah, orc dice. I've plenty of dice. I'd be interested to see what they look like, but I don't think I'll be jumping for joy at the prospect of new orc dice. Now I need to paint this guy's foot. Talking about the contrast, yeah. Tight for okay. I like painting. I don't like building something from the box, but I like building my own conversions. Yep, a lot of orc players of the similar type of thing. Usually get a hacksaw or a blade to something and get cracking from there. Marcus is saying the snake bites leather works out well. I was not impressed with the greens for the orc skin. Yeah, the Dread WAAAAGH did a video about it, and he was saying that there was some, like, I planned on doing it myself, but I didn't see the point. Realistically, when I looked at it, I'm like, I'm going to want to buy 10 paints, and that's going to be 60 something euros. I was like, just to do some test videos? I don't know, man. That seemed like an awful lot. But yeah, I've seen that. There's been quite a few reviews. Even Dreadwell was talking about it, where there's an inconsistency with the line. Like, some of them are great coverage-wise, and some of them not so much. So they're a bit hit and miss, apparently. Heard that from a couple of folk at this stage. I really should have probably painted these guys grey. The coverage would have been a bit better. Sure, what can you do? Onwards and upwards. Tide said, I've tried two. One white, one flesh tone. The white is awful, just bad. Skin tone is alright. Really? The white is awful? Because I've heard people going crazy for the white one. Absolutely mad for it. Trying to get their hands on it. There's even guys who paint Battletech miniatures, and they're all obviously there's going to be a lot of crossover. Wargaming miniatures in general, you know what I mean? 40k tends to be the gateway that gets people into wargaming because of the exposure, you know, the stores, the shop fronts, that type of thing, the most popular. So you'll see a lot of guys, but yeah, a lot of Battletech guys were are going crazy for that white contrast paint. I haven't tried it myself, but it, you know, from what they have been painting, it does look pretty sweet. But if you haven't found it good yourself, I can understand that. But contrast do hardly anything they claim to. They're faff, but good if you have no ability at color contrast through layering. Not quick to use, nor the easier. I get what you mean. Yeah, a lot of the advertising for them was, I think they were aimed towards newer painters, and like I said, they're not very forgiving. You need to have a lot of brush control, from what I've seen. Like, I've not used them, so take that pinch of salt in my opinion. I've not used contrast paints, but I've watched, I don't know how many review videos about it. Quite a few people have been saying the same thing, where it can be a bit unforgiving. There's inconsistencies in the line. You know, you need to have a good brush control to get the most out of them, which isn't really beginner friendly, because when you start off, you don't really have great brush control. Not that I have great brush control as it is, but you know, it could be a bit misleading, especially with the advertising. We were told it's like one coat and you're sorted. Well, it could be a bit of tidying up, you know. It all depends. Like I said, I didn't really see the point because of the, I already had my color palette picked out and the cost. It's like, do I really want to invest in even more Games Workshop paints? My plan is to slowly just phase them out as they either A, get used up, or B, they dry out, because that happens. I'll just phase them out with Vallejo paints over time. Won't be too much of a bother for me. See what way it goes. But yeah, I know Steve-O's been using Army Painter, stuff like that. I like do like the Vallejo paints. The coverage on some of them is okay. Some of the GW paints are pretty good for coverage, especially over black. All just depends really on the different colors. You know what I mean? Different pigments, consistency. Hans Gruber saying, use one of them to get a metallic color armor, but can't see more using them in the future. I get you, yeah. Orc stuff can probably use the contrast stuff in bits, do the skin yellow, the green contrast over it, and then do the pants, etc. Yeah, I've seen a bit of that, yeah. Well, that's the problem with orcs, there's a lot of little details. If you want to really get the most out of the miniatures, it's a bit crazy. You know what I mean? Alexander is asking, silly question, but could you have an orc army that's a plague orc army? Yeah, I don't see why not. You have fun with it. Like, you wanted to build a plague orc army, just get yourself some green stuff and fire away. I suppose you could have plague marine army, and instead of plague zombies, they'd be plague orcs. You could say like an orc horde got infested, so you could do stuff like that. And then instead of bog standard plague marines, you could use meganobs or something. You do like plague meganobs. Got like 22mm bases, or plague knobs. You know what I mean? Yeah, you could. There's nothing stopping you. It's just, that's just a themed army. You just would have to explain to people what it is, whether you're using orc rules or whether you're using the plague marine rules and what exactly everything is. But yeah, that sounds like a fun project. I don't see why not. But I'll see why that would be an issue. I'd look forward to something like that, you know what I mean? Sounds like it'd be fun. These little buggers are a lot more detailed than I thought they'd be. A lot more of a pain to paint. I'm just making sure I actually paint all the little green bits before I move on to the next guy. He needs skin painted green. All just depends really. So alright. On to the next one. Squig Boss is saying, I love the squig dice. The red squig dice. Oh Jesus. They're probably like the worst designed dice I've ever seen. Like shocking bad. But you know, each to their own. Marcus is saying marble red with yellow pips. These will be good. As long as you can see them from like 3 or 4 feet away. There's no point in getting dice that look cool, but they don't function as dice. You know what I mean? If you and your opponent are looking at it going, what does that say? You know what I mean? You should be able, with dice, if they can't function for what they're there for, which is to be able to tell the result at a glance from 3 or 4 feet away. If they can't do that, then they're bad dice. If they can't roll because of whatever design they have, they're, yeah. Marcus is asking, where is the Dread Captain? I think he's still on his jolly days. He's still out in Poland, out in his jolly days. That's where he is. The last I heard. The last picture I saw of him, he had his head stuck in a Cold War era jet engine, which was amusing to say the least. But yeah, he's out in his jolly days. Having fun. Off tormenting the Polish. Tim Reaper saying, also on contrast, don't forget that Luke's APS and Goobertown hobbies both done videos on making cheaper contrast equivalents. Yeah, I get you. If you're doing it in bulk, I think, yeah, you could probably do cheaper ones. But there's also, I can understand just the ease of being able to buy a bottle. But yeah, if you were to do it in bulk and you were painting like whole hordes and stuff like that, there are ways. I think it's just a gel medium for the paint. Just a different medium. It's like inks. I think it was, I remember watching Goobertown Hobbies once, where he was talking about the contrast paints where they're experimenting with his own. And he got some really decent results with using inks and liquid medium or gel medium or whatever it is, paint medium. Needing microphones in the way of me brush. Sometimes the table setup can be a bit of a hindrance, but you know, between webcams jammed here, there, and everywhere, a microphone, a light, like my paintbrush. You get used to it. Strangely, on those rare occasions where I actually do bother to paint. Marcus saying, I liked the video hours ago. Oh, Squigboss still giving out. Ansgerver, you could have a chaos worshipping orc mob in Rogue Trade. That is true. Have it there. I don't know if I have it with me. Books. I don't have the books handy, but there's the old Freebooters book, and there was Khorne Berserker, warbands, and all manner of odd boys. They have all interesting stuff. There was even Gene Stealer cultists orcs, where the Gene Stealers had melded with the orcs. Proper old school stuff. Instead of humans. They weren't ideal symbiotes from what I remember reading about the fluff, but you know. There's nothing else to take over. I suppose the orcs would have to do. Yeah, there was a lot more variation in character, I think. A lot of more quirky, weird stuff back in the day. Much of it now. There was a lot more tables, random tables to roll on. A lot more random tables to roll on. Yeah, Hans Gruber saying, yeah, you said that. Got 40 of them. Oh yeah, I've seen some 3D printed bullet dice. Yeah, there's some decent dice, alright. Cornate Stoneboys, that's right, Dim Reaper. Yeah, you could get units of Cornate Stoneboys because I think the whole thing was they were like super disciplined. The whole thing with Stoneboys is that they're a disciplined unit. I think originally it was a case of with humans we have moody teenagers who want to go against the rules, and the whole irony behind the orcs was Stoneboys were supposed to be moody teenage orcs who instead of the disorder, they get really regimented. That was the whole shtick with them. You know what I mean? They got really regimented, and took things very seriously. The whole point. Alexander saying, a long time ago I was going to do an orc army, and instead of using Gretchen, I was going to use Katachan models, say that they were slaves, but I never ended up doing it. We've all done things like that, where you come up with concepts for projects, but you never really get around to doing it. Like I said, I've recently sold off some of the miniatures for concepts I had, but it's all just about time management and discipline and stuff, and I'm really shy at that type of stuff when it comes to me hobby. When it comes to work, it's like it's not a problem, but when it comes to me hobby, I'm a bit of a hobby butterfly where I go from one idea to another, and it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? So yeah, you end up with a load of half-baked projects that aren't quite finished, which is less than ideal, but, more of an ideas guy, not a really finishing projects type of guy. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. I know at least one more person out there is just like me. But yeah, you can come up with some interesting concepts. The issue is actually following through with them. Some really cool ideas for armies, for units, for conversions. Like, I wanted to convert some Valkyries into Chinork Warcopters, but I just never got around to it. And instead of staring at the Valkyries, I've just selling them off soon enough. Organise someone to buy them off me. You sell them. And I can use that money for some miniatures I might actually use, or new parts for the computer, or a better microphone for the streams, or, something I'll actually get some use out of. Instead of miniatures that are just sitting there taking up space I can't afford be taken up. Jim Reaper saying, and adolescence. Yeah, about the Storm Boys. Big Boss, Scuba Town hobbies equals Bob Ross of minis. He does have that sort of tone to him, alright. He's very sort of zen and chill. Pretty cool. Do like him. Orc stuff for saying Rebels against Anarchy. Yep, Storm Boys. That was true. Marcos, I still want to make cyborgs, bikes, and boars mashed together for a snake bites army. Yeah, could be done. Could be done. They're not very popular, snake bites. Seem to be the least popular clan, I think. It's either them or freebooters. The more popular clans tend to be the likes of Bad Moons, Evil Sons, Deaf Skulls, and Goths, I think. I think there was a poll in the orc group. And that was the sort of roughly the order of it. I think it's just because they've good clan traits and that they've been in codexes more recently than others. Like, I reckon if the Snakebites had a good clan trait and like the army that was being shown off in the Orc Codex was a Snakebites army, I think you'd probably see more of them. To be honest with you, I think there's a bit of that. Like, because I can remember when I first started in 40k in 3rd edition, the starter box set was Black Templars and Dark Elder. And I can specifically remember there was a shitload of Black Templars armies in the Games Workshop I used to play in. Like, every other player had a Black Templar army. Like, most of the Space Marine armies were Black Templars ones. I remember that. So I think it's just a case of whatever army is being shown tends to be popular. Whereas, back then it was more just fluff and stuff. Whereas now it actually, the different, your paint job actually means something from the clan rules or chapter tactics or whatever. You know what I mean? It actually means something. So, there's also a bit of that. I, collect in specific clan because they've a really good clan ability in the game, which is also understandable. I can understand people wanting to get the most out of their army. Do a bit of that myself, you know what I mean? Tend to get away with it a bit more when you don't have them painted. Yeah, for tournaments and stuff, I reckon it would be I reckon it would be a different matter. Oops. Paint everywhere I am. What's Hans Gruber saying? Like, it was because there was far too many rules and it looked like they were slaves. Yeah, I get you about the conversion for the army, the Katachans. Big Boss is asking, why is Dim Reaper's name blue? Because he's an admin. People are being naughty in the chat, he can give them the boot. Orcs, if you're going to paint brown camo on the Grot's skin, don't ask where the brown came from. No. I think we might hit them with a brown wash for, you know, when they were in the drops, because, you know, that's what they do. Maybe the snotlings. And the snotlings are supposed to be the farmers in the drops, aren't they? They tend to the fungus. I've always found that kind of amusing. I don't know whether that's still canon in the fluff, though. Maybe it's something that just hasn't been touched on in a long time. Snotlings are the guys who do be down in the drops a fair bit. And into the squiggly beasts and the fungus. I'm most likely getting eaten by the squiggly beasts. Squigs of all shapes and sizes. I remember there was, like, in the old school orc books that they would turn into snotlings after a while would turn into toadstools. They turn into these hard sort of mushrooms that people would sit on. But it was really funny, the old school art for them. Really funny. Or it sits you like a snotling that's sort of grown into a mushroom and it's just like his face on the top and the little hands sticking out the sides. It was pretty hilarious looking. I think the game was a bit more comical then. It wasn't as serious as it is now. 40k takes itself very serious. It's like, Jesus, calm down, lads. Like, you know what I mean? But yeah, each to their own. I don't think we'll be doing brown camo on their skin. Orc stuff. As good an idea as it sounds, I think you'll leave it off for sanitary reasons. Kansas saying, best fluff I loved about the old Rogue Trader orcs was the possessed warp heads. Demons hate being trapped in orcs because orcs just can't be controlled by demons like other races. Oh yeah, I remember seeing something like that. People were saying, wait for it. In Reaper, technically freebooters aren't a clan. I know technically freebooters aren't a clan, but freebooter players don't like to hear that. I think the problem is that all started in 7th edition codex, where whoever wrote that codex clearly did not know enough about the orc fluff. And they put them in with the clans, so there's a lot of confusion with some players. Where they're like, oh, I collect the freebooters, they're a clan. It's like, well, technically freebooters are clanless orcs. You know? They don't really have a clan. And they're not all pirates either. You know what I mean? But that would require some effort on Games Workshop behalf. And, yeah, you know, we barely get enough effort off of them as it is. Having to read up on previous books and do our homework before writing fluff. The horror. God forbid. Having to read up on the history of what's come before. No, can't be doing that. Here, we'll just retcon it, it'll be grand. It'll be grand. These little fiddly grots done. Yeah, definitely, I really probably should have painted these guys grey. Coverage of this green isn't the Maywest. Mind you, it's not a base colour, so that's probably what's not helping. Maybe I could have done them with the Dead World camo. Dead World Forest camo first. Just to get a strong base in. And then just highlighted the bejesus out of them. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Give it another layer or two. It's not ideal because we want to be trying to get it done as few layers as possible. Try speed up paint job. Color wise it looks alright. Right, we'll let that layer dry. We'll move on to the next one. Besides off the cook dinner. Happy hobby, cheers bro. Fun. Fuck stuff saying bingo. They were saying, right, finally get to sit at my desk and do some hobby. What a day. Sounds like you've had a busy one, Steve-O. I've had a pretty busy one myself, to be honest with you. 12 hours of work. Shenanigans. Shenanigans, I tell you. Had to do some extra shifts over the weekend, I did. Shattered. Surprised I'm still awake to do the bleeding live stream, to be honest with you. But, you know, we'll soldier through. That's dedication for you. And I said every 2 weeks. It's happening every 2 weeks. We're sticking with it. We're sticking with the routine. Dedication to the cause. I think we're on like 3 or 4 weeks now in a row. Doing well, lads. We're doing well. We're not doing too bad. Not doing too bad at all. If we keep it consistent, get the painting going. I think every 2 weeks is reasonable enough. I don't think I'd want to be tormenting people with like one stream every week. I think there'd be more of a time constraint for me as well. Whereas at least if it's every 2 weeks, you can sort of plan ahead. Or you know, oh, you know, when I get Sundays off, go on Sunday. Squig Boss is saying, why am I not in the admin? Ah, yeah, alright, yeah. Sure. Someday, Squig Boss, someday. You play your cards right. Pokeact is saying, if I'm a rebel grot, do I get the boot? This is an orc live stream. No, no. I'm painting grots, so clearly grots are allowed. But if you're not painting, you know what I mean? If you find a grot without a paintbrush or a wrench in his hand or a bucket of slop to be mopping the floor up with, you know what I mean? Give him a swift boot. Get him to work, the lazy git. Normally what you do with grots. Give them a good kicking. Make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Making sure they're not up to mischief. Every orc knows a grot that's grot that's not kept busy gets up to mischief. Things start disappearing. Sticky fingers they have, I've heard. Sticky fingers. Sticky fingers and light-handed. Your prize shield will go missing. Be like, oh, I see what happens there. Next thing you know, there'll be grot tanks trying to invade the fort, and you'll find your prize shooter stuck to the top one. Wouldn't be happy. Wouldn't be happy at all. Tim Reaper's talking about mushlings. Freebooters are orcs without a clan. They have the biggest variety in orc culture, given the massive diversity of orc culture in general. That's really saying something. Yeah, that is really saying something. That'd be like saying pirates were a navy of their own right. You know, pirates did band together back in like the Caribbean days and stuff, but that type of thing. Alexander, I think 40k should be all about making your own color schemes up. It'll be up to you, the painter and the player, on what they should look like, what theme and the backstory too. Yeah, but I don't think everyone has those sort of creative juices starting off. No, especially like some of the younger players. I think there's nothing wrong with there being established factions for people, because you have to remember that like visually that's what draws people in, is the established lore and factions, and people get hooked on a lot of the lore as well. So to be like, people will get hooked on the Ultramarines where it's like the 500 planets or whatever, and Papa Smurf and all that type of stuff, you know, and then they go online and wonder why everyone hates their favorite faction. But yeah, there's no harm in And I'd actually encourage some creativity in making your own sort of chapters and clans and that type of stuff. I'm doing that myself when I'm getting into BattleTech. I'm making my own mercenary company. So there's different houses, um, so different factions you can fight for. But there's you can make your own mercenary company, so you can call them what you want, give them their own color scheme, give them their own insignia. You know what I mean? There's all rules for running a campaign and then earning contracts and all type. Yeah, there's a whole thing like that. So there's quite a few games who have that ability where you can make up your own factions and stuff and clans and whatever else. And I think it can be done with 40k as well. I could have no issue with someone having custom rules. Like, I even think, what's the weirdest army I've ever played against at 40k? I think the biggest mishmash I've seen is Sisters of Battle. Yeah, Sisters of Battle. Army, but they were all on like dinosaurs. So they were either on like Cold One Riders, and then there was like big lizard men, sort of lizards, where they'd have howdahs for the missile launchers and stuff. So it was like my friend Kaz, her yeah, she has like a custom Sisters of Battle army, and it's all like kind of lizards, and it's really like it's crazy. It's like the paint jobs are amazing and stuff. But I think she used like different rules for different stuff. I think she used like the Seekers of Slaanesh or the Demonettes of Slaanesh, those ones that ride on the steeds of Slaanesh. I think she used them for the cold ones with the sisters on the back, that type of thing. So, you know, you can do that. It all depends. If you want to have fun and you want to make your whole custom sort of thing and just sort of grab the appropriate units from different codexes and stuff like that, it can be done. All just depends who you're playing against. Some people wouldn't really be into that. They'd be like, no, that's broken or whatever, blah blah blah. But if you know, if it's within reason, if you could reason it, where it's like this unit's proxying this unit, like you were talking about Katachans. Pretty sure one of my other friends had a Katachan army that was pretty much an orc army, but it was proxied by Katachans. So they were all Katachans with orc guns, and they all had their skin done up in green camouflage to represent that they were painting themselves. I think his fluff behind it was that they were like a specialist anti-orc Katachan unit, but they sort of used the Orc Codex, but it was all that they were against orcs. You know what I mean? Sort of like a special operations anti-orc unit, sort of infiltrators type job. Something the BLOODAXE'S would do. Something dead sneaky. You know what I mean? Yep, 1 hour, 5 grots. I'll get there eventually, Squig Boss. Hopefully I'll have enough of them done before I kick the bucket. Eventually. Hans Gruber, no special guest this week. I was due to have a special guest on, but we forgot about the differences in time zones. I had someone organised to come on. Yeah, time zones. Pretty much. It's like, oh, this time. Oh yeah, no bother. That's grand. That time of the evening, it's like, oh wait a minute, you're 5 hours ahead of me. It's like, ah yes, bit of that, It does happen. So we'll try and sort it out. I'll see about getting that guest on the next one, which will be 2 weeks from now. Sure, we can get more people on. Is anyone in particular you want me to try and get on to the live hobby hangouts? Get on and chat. Can always try and ask people, try and organize something. Go from there. It's a 2 hour block, which is, I know some people only really do it 1 hour blocks and stuff like that, so it can be a bit long for some people. I could understand quite a few folk not wanting to do it because it is 2 hours, but I always find like when I'm on and I'm chatting to someone, or even if I'm chatting away to you guys, like the time bleeding flies, like, you know what I mean? It really does. For me, anyway. I know I've only got green on what 6 grots, but like where did that's an hour and 15 minutes gone already. I'm like, where's it gone? I don't know. Disappears. Oh, cactus, then suddenly they have the mega tanks. Orkin. Yeah, true. All orc pirates are freebooters. Not all freebooters are pirates. Nice. Onic. Remember that. Onic? I don't know how to pronounce that. But then there are space wolves. Oh, that is true. There is space wolves. I think I even have some space wolves on sprues knocking around somewhere. Get rid of. I used to have space wolves back in the day. They were my first 40k army I ever had. Because when I started in 40k, I used to be a big Warhammer Fantasy. I used to be big into Warhammer Fantasy. That's what I started off with. I started off with like Bretonnians and Lizardmen and stuff. And then my grandparents, on one side of the family, got me for Christmas when I was like, I mustn't have been long into the hobby, so I was probably like 8 or 9. They bought me the 3rd edition Space Wolves Codex and a box set of Blood Claws. That's how I started with Space Wolves. Now, I sold them all off years ago to a Canadian friend of mine, Tata Fish. I sold all the Space Wolves off because I just wasn't happy with the direction Games Workshop took with the Space Wolves. But it was the right decision to do, because even now I'm like, I don't regret selling it. Because a lot of people, what happens is they'll sell off like their first army, or they'll sell off all of their 40k stuff. They'll decide that they're just quitting on it, and they'll sell off a lot of the stuff. And what tends to happen is they tend to regret it, because it's sort of a knee-jerk reaction thing. Whereas with me, I'd been sitting on my Space Wolf army for quite a few years, and I was like, I'm having so much fun with the orcs. I just didn't use the Space Marines anymore, the Space Wolves. I didn't really like the direction they'd gone with the Space Wolves. And I just wasn't digging it anymore, so I sold them off. But like I said, I haven't regretted it. I reckon if I was to sell off all of my orcs, that I probably would regret it. I think selling all of them off wouldn't be the smart move. Like, even if I stopped totally playing 40k, I still think there's good hobby potential in the orcs. Like, just doing conversions and having a laugh with them. Not that I think I'll stop playing 40k fully. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't see myself ever like really selling off all of my orcs. I think I'll always have some orcs, even if I absolutely hated 40k. I just like the orc faction. They're pretty cool. Or the fun you can have with them. You know what I mean? Even if I wasn't to buy any new stuff, if they totally rebuilt the orc line. Like, I've loads of the stuff. Loads! For years I keep myself entertained. Alex is saying, I would love to get back into the hobby, but I'm too nervous because I've got learning difficulties, and it take a lifetime to understand every 8th edition 40k rulebook rules. I know how you feel, man. The thing that really pissed me off about 8th edition 40k is the rules keep changing. The rules editions don't last very long. Like, I think that's why 5th edition was the last edition I really liked, because I think we got, what, 4 or 5 years out of it? And it was pretty solid throughout it. Near the end, it got a bit messy. There was a lot of power creeper codexes. They brought aircraft in. The game started to get a bit crazy in 5th edition. But this edition of 40k, I'm not too enamored with it. It's like we have a game that's in alpha and they keep changing it and then changing it back, and it's like, it's good that a game gets updated, but the state in which 8th edition is in, for me, I don't think it was worth the money. It's like we in my eyes, we got charged AAA prices, but we got like something in alpha. You know what I mean? That's the thing. I'm not too enamored with 8th edition. There's quite a few rules in it that I think are just a bit pointless. Not immersive. Like I don't like the fact that the templates are gone. I think that was a massive blow to the game. I really like templates. I thought they were pretty cool. And then there's all silly rules. It's like flamers. You can have a cover save against the flamer. So the whole point of flamethrowers is to flush people out of cover. But you can shoot aircraft with them. It's little things like that. You know what I mean? I'm not happy with the current edition of 40k. Between the constant changes, the constantly having to buy chapter approved. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the rules have been stretched out into too many books just to try and nickel. Oh yeah, I just feel like we're being nickeled and dimed, as our American cousins across the sea would say. I feel like we're being nickeled and dimed a lot in regards to the rule books with this edition. And I just don't find it value for money personally, you know? I'd like to get a few years out of my edition of 40k before there's massive changes to it. But that's just me. Everyone's mileage may vary. I'm sure there are some people out there who absolutely love the fact that it's changing constantly. The meta shifting and all this type of stuff. I'm like, yep, that's cool for some folk. Just not for me personally at this moment in time. But each to their own. If you're enjoying 40k, there's no harm in that. You have fun with the game, man. You know? Not gonna shit on somebody's parade. I'm not gonna tell other people they can't enjoy 40k. Just because I'm not happy with it doesn't mean that you can't be. You know what I mean? Oh, Cactus, get PewDiePie. Yeah, alright, I'll shoot him an email. Well, fingers crossed, lads. Tyler Miller, hey Tyler. I remember some of the old rules for our Armageddon Orc Hunters and White Dwarf, maybe. Katajans would shoot us, but no tanks. Oh, yeah. I think I remember the unit you're talking about. And they had a Chimera that had orc armor on the front. It's supposed to be like a super sneaky Chimera. They had like an Imperial Guard Chimera, and the front of it was done in orcish, like bits of metal bolted on. So that from the front it would look like an orc vehicle. I think I remember the army you're talking about. Yeah, pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. Hans Gruber saying Squig Boss for next guest. Sweet Jesus, that microphone. So you can sadly get Orc Hunters and called Armageddon Orc. Space Wolves are now just 40s. Yeah, to some people. WAAAGH is heading off. Good night, WAAAGH. Big Boss is talking about me being in my deathbed painting orcs. Is probably going to happen. Probably going to end up that way. Dim Reaper is saying 8th edition is a live service. It stinks. Doubly so for being expected to pay a boutique price tag for work in progress rules with most of its features stripped away. Yeah, so I'm of a similar opinion where I find that the game is pretending to be a AAA title, but we're being sold something that's in alpha. So it's like I think that this iteration of 40k is literally just preparation for the next edition. You know what I mean? And like I said, it keeps chopping and changing way too much. Now, if you didn't play 40k for 6 months and come back, you'd be like, "Oh no, that's all changed. This has changed. It's not that anymore." Like unnecessary nerfs as well. Like the mob up rule getting nerfed. Really? Was it that broken? Was a mob of 25 looters that broken? I don't think so. There are a lot worse things out there. Games Workshop can be a bit heavy-handed when it comes to the Xenos factions. And I think that's another problem. They don't give much love to the Xenos factions in general. I think they focus too much on Space Marines. Now, I can understand Space Marines and the Imperium getting the lion's share of attention, because they're the most popular, but I think you need to be careful that you don't over focus the community on it, because I reckon a large part of why there's so many people who are into the Imperial stuff is because they get the lion's share of new products. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think we're all pretty much sick of seeing new Primaris sergeants or captains at this stage, and there's units that are as old as the Bleeding Hills. Like, a lot of the Eldar characters are really old. Like, Ghazghkull's from what, 99? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of characters that are due a good update in plastic. And we're not seeing that, but we are seeing, like, Primaris this, Primaris that. It's like, you know, spread the love a bit more. That kind of annoys me about Games Workshop. They over-focus their product line on just Primaris Marines a bit too much for my likings. Which isn't a problem you get in Battletech, because really anyone can have any mech. It's another thing I like about it. Van Hammer started playing back in Rogue Trooper days, and why I don't play anymore, the rule changes. Yeah, man. Well, like I said, some people enjoy the rule changes. Sometimes the rules change for the better, and sometimes the rules change for the worse. But I find, me personally, my personal taste in Wargaming, I find the rules have changed quite a lot for the worst in my eyes. Like, some people absolutely love Current Orc Codex. I think it's the best one ever. And I think the only good thing about a Current Orc Codex is a handful of the clan rules. But apart from that, I think it's probably one of the worst Orc Codexes we've ever gotten. Because look at all the units that have been gutted out of the Codex. Like, Mega Armored Warboss isn't in the Orc Codex. Like, Mega Armored Warboss, like the staple to the Orky HQ, isn't in the Orc Codex because there isn't a miniature for it. What madness is this? You know what I mean? What absolute madness. Alright, so I'm going to put the link for the Discord again if you guys want to throw in your work in progress, what you've been working on during the stream. We'll give it another 5 minutes, and then people want to post in the live stream work in progress for the Discord, and we'll have a look and see what everyone's been working on. Hopefully they've gotten a bit more progress done than a paltry 8 grots painted slightly lemony green. But progress is progress nonetheless, you know. That's the good thing about chipping away at it. You'll get some of it done. Getting some of it done is better than just staring at it and getting none of it done, you know? Even just a little bit. A little bit more. But like I said, yeah, 30 points of 2000 that I need to get done. I was talking about doing like 100 orcs in a stream, in like a 24-hour stream, but I realized I don't think I need to paint 100 orcs, but I could easily paint. I don't think I'll be easily painted, but I easily need to paint at least 100 Gretchen. So I could do like several hundred Gretchen in 24 hours. I might do something like that. 24-hour stream on Twitch where I paint an absolute shed load of Gretchen. Get the old airbrush out and just crank the bastards out. That'd be good crank. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be pants or just his leg, but it's his leg now. That's what's happening. Getting to that stage. Oh yeah, that's a leg. There you go. Have some green. That's supposed to be his pants. It's like, it's his leg now. It'll be grand. Sure, no one will know the difference. Space Marines are just good in the game now. Yeah, new Space Marine Codex. Quick Boss saying that Space Marines are good. The new Space Marine Codex is supposed to be really good. I hear Marcus is saying 25 looters is not that broken compared to all the new Space Marine upgrades. This is what I mean, like, it annoys me. There's a built-in inequality in the game. There really is. It's like especially when the Knights come out, and I was looking at the Knights compared to the Stompers, I was like, why would you bother bringing a Stomper? You know, there's a very specific inequality in the game. The game rules are a mechanism for sales, um, and that's the reality we have to deal with. That's 40k is they are based on sales. It's not their mantra isn't a good core war game. Their mantra is really like shareholders. All right, yeah, I've no problem with you making profit, but it's how you go about making profit. Like if you have a good solid product that would sell in and of itself, you know. Well, you know, who am I? I'm not a marketing expert, whatever. Let's see how it works out for them in the long run. Alex is saying I'm more than happy to watch orc YouTube channels, watch people play 40k on YouTube rather than playing it myself. I can understand that. There's a lot of people who are like that with games as well, with video games. Like you'll enjoy the banter that people have or the interactions, especially with live streaming and stuff like that. I've watched people playing video games and I don't even own the game, but you know, it's just interesting. Plus, you could decide then if you see for yourself if you're watching people playing a game and interacting. It's like, oh, you know, I find this interesting, but I wouldn't really get into it myself. Or it might be a case of if you're watching someone, you'll be like, oh, I find this interesting, and I could potentially want to get into it. It all depends. You know what I mean? It is somewhat amusing, alright. Or do you know what I'm really terrible for? Do you ever watch people like restoring stuff? It's like I've absolutely no interest in taking apart a car engine block and rebuilding it, but I find those type of videos very interesting. I like knowing how things work, people fixing things. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't watch someone like restore a wardrobe. It's like generally it'll be like mechanical stuff. I find pretty interesting. Next thing you know, like 4 or 5, 6 hours of your life are gone in YouTube because you end up watching one video after another. Which is amusing in of itself. Oh yeah, definitely. What's another one? You end up watching some crazy stuff on YouTube, like people casting bronze cannons and making aluminium foundries and all loads of stuff, loads of different things. Marcus is saying I never got to play a mob of 20 mega knobs. Sad face. It's a fair old investment, mind you, but yeah, sad face, Marcus. Dim Reaper predicting a new Primaris captain for October. Well, of course. Tony Miller, I try not to get mad about nice new models like Primaris, but it is a little frustrating to see yet another Primaris lieutenant when we still don't have a basic big mech or warboss in mega armor. Yes, it is annoying, very annoying. Frustrating to say the least. Orc stuff. When all said and done, a game involves giving both sides an equal chance of winning. How long you can last against our latest broken codex gets old fast. Yeah, I think the problem with that is it's a very short term. It's very short sighted. I think could be potentially damaging in the long term. But that's probably because I'm of the opinion, I'm at the stage myself where I've gone past the fence and I'm like, I need to look into other war games to get my fix because 40k just doesn't deal for me anymore. I just don't have the interest that I used to. Now, you know what I mean? If they came out with a new edition and it was actually somewhat balanced, but I highly doubt that will ever happen again. It's all to sales stimulus. Seems to be their central objective. And there's a lot of faction bias in my opinion. But, you know, other people love that sort of thing. Orc stuff, bit like scrap heap challenge. Yeah. Oh, that was yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Scrap heap challenge. What was the other one? There was scrap heap challenge and there was another one. Not Junkyard Wars, was it? There was a. I think there was a couple of them. I used to love. I used to love Scrap Heap Challenge. So, for those of you who don't know what Scrap Heap Challenge is, it was a British TV show, I think, where they had two teams and they were given objectives. So they'd be given like an expert each, and I think it was like a team of 3 or 4 people, and they'd be told, "You guys need to build an amphibious car. So the car needs to be able to drive on a track for so long, and then like go in a pond and turn and come around and go back, and then whoever's team vehicle could do that the fastest won." So that would be the Scrappy Challenge, something like that. And yeah, it used to be so cool, man. You'd see it, and then some teams they'd do it and it would work, and some teams they'd build it and it just wouldn't work. And you'd see all manner of things. There'd be like engines taken out of tractors, and they just went into a scrapyard. So that's where the competition was, and it was literally they go out and scavenge the bits and see what they could build. And it was, yeah, it was a great show, man. Absolutely cracking show. Absolutely. Hammer blacksmithing YouTube's vids get me. I'll watch them for an hour. Yeah, I think it's anything where something's being created or fabricated. Like even some woodworking stuff I watch. There's guys building boats or casting stuff. Yeah. Oh, Cactus is saying rest in the big mech with custom. Yep. Yep. Be sorely missed. They have the miniature in metal. I don't see why they didn't make a plastic one. Jim Reaper, we got a new marine range before Eldar got plastic aspect warriors. Let that sink in. Are those aspect warriors knocking around since like the 90s? I think they weren't knocking around since the 90s. Those aspect warriors are pretty old. What I remember. Hans Gruber, Scrap Heat Challenge on a Sunday afternoon was great. It was. It's cracking. Great Sundays. When is the next build off challenge? Next month. Yes. I'm gonna do an announcement video soon enough. I've just been up to my eyeballs and work, but we're gonna be doing a big vehicle building competition. Do not build anything yet. You will be disqualified. I'm looking at you. I'll be building anything. I'll give you I'll put up a video and there will be the rules for the there will be very strict rules, and you will be told about prizes, and you will be told about the stipulations of what things will be judged on. It'll be very organized compared to the last one, and you'll be told the start date, the end date, what you can and can't build. Yeah, I'm very loose with these rules. I just tend to restrict people on building stuff that's too oversized. Like when I say large vehicle, I don't mean a stomper. Because that would be for the next build afterwards, which would be a super heavy vehicle build. So, you know, you'll be building large vehicles. So gather your bits and your gubbins. Make the video soon enough. But like I said, I've been up to my eyeballs in work lately, which has not helped, sadly. But I will get it out soon enough. Giving out poke cactus. No new custom force fields because you could spend $60 and get a Mega Knobs kit. Yeah, there's a bit of that, alright. There's a bit of that. Hans Gruber saying the Warp Sputters are from the 90s. They are, man. I think some of their Aspect Warrior champions are like as old as the Bleeding Hills as well. Orc Stuff is saying, will you be taking part? Yes, I have a chassis of a vehicle that I bought off of eBay that I will be absolutely battering with plasticard. I still need to finish that Bleeding Grot tank. I've been working on my community prize that I still haven't finished for the last guy, so I've started building the WAAAAGH banner knob for the person who won the last one. It's gonna be an Evil Sons one for his Evil Sons army, so I just need to get do a bit of green stuff work on the shoulder pad. Wanted to be sort of Evil Sons speed freaky, so I want to put a tire shoulder pad here. This was the axe that I chopped up. I cut up some terrain at an angle from to stand on. I think it looks cool. I probably might do something like a mohawk or something like that. So this is the community award prize. I'll finish that glyph up. I'll build it for him and I'll send it off. Get it sorted. But yeah, I enjoy making these web banner knobs. I have the glyph mostly done. I need to do the spikes for the rest of it because it's Evil Sons. It'll have spikes coming out to represent the black, and I need to rivet up the back of it. But it's nearly there. Slow progress. You know, if you're subscribed to me, you know everything's bleeding glacial progress at this stage. But it looks pretty sweet. We'll get that done. Finish a few other bits and pieces up. Any progress on the grot tank? No, I need to finish the running gear. I built the tracks and I sort of burnt myself out. And I got distracted with Battletech. That's what happened there. Sadly got more folks. Oh, sadly I've got my folks of Exo. I'll catch up later on tonight. Really enjoy this live stream, Skarnir. Thanks, Alex. Thanks for dropping in, man. Just gonna look at everyone's work in progress. So let's have a look. Like I said, if you are looking to show up your work in progress pics, show them up into the Discord. We're gonna go have a look now and see what people have either started on at the stream or what they're working on now. Marcos is saying, talking about the rules changing too much. Do you think we will be getting supplements like the Space Marine chapters? Orcs? No. I don't think the orcs will be getting supplements like the Space Marine chapters because we are not popular enough. It wouldn't generate enough sales. I don't. I mean, I'd be happy to be wrong on that regard, but I just don't see it happening. If I'm being honest. I really don't see it happening. I think the Space Marines get it because the Space Marines are like the lion's share of their sales in general, not just 40k. Like Space Marines are most of what Games Workshop sell in general. So yeah, not surprised. Let's have a look at our Discord works in progress. If I press this button, it should bring up our Discord. So, looking here, we have Squigboss. Started with his Dread start. So you've got some basic structure going on. Nice engine. What did you start off with? Is that one of the... Looks like one of his... what are they called? One of those things off the Wii. Some of the miniatures. Mork and Gork. Very nice. Very good base to start off with. Mork and Gork has been working on some... That's a swanky looking glyph. I likes it. Very swank. Liking the rivets. The double layer rivets. Nice little detail. Very nice. Be working on this Jolly Roger. Must be going on to his giant scratch build conversion. Orc stuff. Showing his camo grots that have had their dung daubed on them. Like the little bit of work you've done on this guy there. But yeah, I see the camo you were on about that they've managed to acquire. It looks sweet. Tonight's finished bit. Ooh. Very swank. I like this. That reminds me of the... This turret reminds me of the mouse. But this, all of this sort of... That screams Metal Slug to me. If any of you guys have ever played Metal Slug, it's like a 2D scroller arcade game from the early 2000s, I think. Or even the late 90s. It's an absolute cracking game. But yeah, Orc stuff is knocking the ball out of the park again with his mealy-pull scratch builds and conversions. Mostly scratch builds. Holy smokes. That looks sweet, dude. That looks pretty damn sweet. I like it. Very swank. Yes, definitely gets a Skarnir seal of approval. This just looks mean, the whole front of it. I like it. Nice use of some bits and pieces. The WAAAAGH turret. Rockets off the Stomper. I like that turret, man. I really do. It's pretty swank. And then the wheels, shocks, more guards coming out. Even the hydraulics for the ram itself. It just looks mean, looks heavy, looks swank. Metal Slug was indeed awesome. Pale green git. Working on a dread. Oh, nice hazard stripes. Very crisp. Very crisp indeed. Very swank. Bits and pieces all over the place. I like it. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, I have to say I really like those hazard stripes. They're super crisp. Very nice. Having painted some Iron Warriors myself, I even got the hazard stripe on the can crotch plate going. Having painted some Iron Warriors, I know what those yellow and black stripes are like, especially if you make a mess with the black. It's like, oh, sweet Jesus. I see a detail on the base as well. I like this sort of faded colour that you've managed to get going. It's rust spots. The lens effects you've got going on as well. I really should start to mess around with some lens effects eventually. Looks pretty sweet, man. Looks good. Jobs a good one. Thank. This is a skull hammer beside his Wazzy. I've seen this bleeding bike. Sweet Jesus. And his eyes glow. He's got like LED up his arse. And fiber optics going up to his eyeballs. The grots loading stuff. Yeah, that's a big old tank. I bet you this thing weighs a bleeding ton, like literally physically. Weighs a lot. That's a lot of milliput. Very swank, dude. Very swank. Grumpy Viking. Painting. His 40 Gaslands cars. These are all of his Gaslands cars. He did some green stuff work on his Gasland cars. So they're covered in what would be the equivalent of shag carpet or something like that. So if you've ever seen Dumb and Dumber, where they have like that sort of 40 car, it's just the effect he's going for. I like it. This one reminds me of what's it, Cousin It from the Addams Family. For some weird reason, this one reminds me of Cousin It from the Addams Family. Maybe it's the color of the paint you're using. Yeah, it's looking good, man. I think you did a cracking job on the floor. I definitely would not be able to do that myself. You're cracking. I really like this one. This one's kind of hilarious with the ears, but I really like this one for some reason. I don't know why. Visually, I'm just sort of drawn to it. I like the chains on the wheels as well. They look swank. Very swank. This looks a bit like a teddy bear. But yeah, they look cool, man. Hans Gruber saying not much done the last 2 weeks at all. Just 4 bomb squigs. Must try harder. Hey, dude, you're doing better progress than me. Don't worry about it. Old school paint pots for the win. I bet you they're not bleeding dry. But yeah, squig bombs. Pulling Stevo, sticking stick bombs in their gobs. They are pretty good for squig bombs. Only for I've already decided I want to make mechanical clockwork ones. I'd buy some of these myself because they are pretty sweet. It's good that they've got plastic squigs. Just a bit steep for me, but yeah, cool. Good to see that you're getting squig bombs done. Progress. Welcome, Marcos. Oh, he's painting up his unit. Yeah, I like this. You've got a nice mix of different ones. Like we've the multi-part guys that we have now. Then there's like these old school 2nd edition ones, or Rogue Trader era as well. Yeah, this one's a Rogue Trader, dude. I think these ones are 2nd edition. These ones here where you've put the current arms on them. Yeah, so this guy's 2nd edition. This guy's Rogue Trader because he's got like his little heavy bolter. And then I recognize some of these kits as well. Like this kit here, he's an assault on Blackreach big shooter because I can tell from his gun. And this knob is an assault on Blackreach knob. I have a few of them myself. I like the paint job. It's like you've got nice muted tones. The only thing, advice-wise, I would say to you is drill out your barrels. It adds so much detail. Drill out your barrels. It's a pain in the back, but it'll look swank. That is the only thing I'll say to you there. This little sneaky git in the middle here with his two sluggers. But yeah, looking sweet, man. Looking sweet. I like them. Very brown. Are they snake bites? A lot of brown going down. But yeah, I like that you've mixed up the unit. It looks cool. Paint's still good from the 90s, says Hans Gruber. I thought as much. They just don't make them the way they used to. And Mork and Gork has attached the Jolly Roger, but the glue is curing before I can get sculpting on working on wooden planks. Takes forever. Sweet Jesus. The details. This is Squig Hat Fort thing. It's got all the guns sticking out of it and stuff. Yeah, it looks sweet. I'm afraid to ask how many hours you've put into this now, Mork and Gork, and how far out do you think you are from finishing it? Because there is a lot of time sunk into this. A lot of time. And this thing probably weighs a bleeding ton as well. But yeah, that looks sweet, man. I like it. It's a nice touch. I look forward to seeing this project finished up and painted up. I reckon it's going to look pretty sweet. I reckon it is. And like I said, that double detail that you have, you've got the little hex bolts. And then the extra rivet tips on top. Of course, angry eyebrows, because no more glyph would be complete without angry eyebrows. Squig Boss is saying, I don't think anyone could beat him. I wouldn't want to try and beat this thing. Just sort of stand on you. Squish you. Mork and Gork. Around 129 hours. You're a mad mech. You're what? You're a mad mech. Marcus is saying, I'll drill them out before I say they're done. Good job. Good job, bud. Say it'll be a little extra. Nice. You're an 129 blade. You're mad. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. And that's what we've got for this stream's work in progress, guys. And if I push this button, aha. Survey says, ding ding. So yeah, that was what we had on our live stream work in progress. But as you can see, like, some of the projects are just mad. 129 hours into that sculpture. It's like, fair play to you. I wouldn't be able for it. But fair play to you. Progress wise, myself, I said I want to get some of this finished up. I can't find me bleeding green stuff, but I'm going down to the local gaming store on Wednesday to play some Battletech. So I think I'll grab some more green stuff for me WAAAAGH banner knob, and then I'll finish him up, and I'll finish that up, and then get him sent off, and finish off the skin on these guys. Experiment with it. Like I said, the green I'm going for with me Gretchen is Elysian green. Then I'm going to be throwing down the Etonian camo shade on top. And then I'll do a final layer of like Ogreen camo, or I'll see what way they're looking like with just like the Etonian camo shade. And then I'll pick out the details and do the metals or stuff. Maybe I should have done like a dry brush of the metals, but I'm not too bothered. I'll probably just pick out the metals, whatever metallic, probably like bleeding lead belcher or something like that, and then just pick out the letters. And like Steve was saying, there's a lot of details in these little guys that you don't really sort of expect. It's like, you'd sort of think nonchalantly to yourself, they're just Gretchen. Be grand, they'll get painted up really quickly and easily, but when you get down to the nitty gritty and the detail of them, it's like, this one's got like a loincloth and bandages and a bandana and like a wristband, and it's like, it's amusing to me that after you get the paintbrush down and onto them, you realize just how much detail they have. Quite a fair bit, I have to say, even the Gretchens. Which isn't too bad, like, how much is it for 10 Gretchen and a runt haired? It's not like 10, 12 quid or something. It didn't used to be expensive. I know there's been price hikes lately, but like, you could still probably get these fairly cheap. Hordes of the little gits. I think having at least 30 of these guys painted up would be really handy for using with the jump. I think that's what I plan on doing with them. Is I'll the jump with tank busters with one weird boy, and then I'll use the other weird boy to the jump a unit of grots around them. So that way, because what happens is when you jump down with your tank busters and they unleash, they'll do a lot of damage, but in the next turn they're gonna get absolutely shot to snot. So I might do that. I might do a mob of 30 grots just so I can jump them to try and squeeze an extra turn out of some tank busters. Dems would be me tactics. Maybe I could do like little tactic videos, little hints and tips. I'll be eventually doing stuff like that for BattleTech, and we'll come up with a concept for me mercenaries. We're gonna do the video for the building competition. So like I said, guys, do not start building now for the building competition. I'll do the build video hopefully before the start of September. I'll make it my business to get it done, and we're going to be doing a big vehicle build, and I'll give you the exact details, the exact rules, what dimensions you really shouldn't build bigger than that, because the next building competition will be a super heavy build, and then I'll just let you build whatever the bleeding hell you want at that stage, you know. Some contraptions will be crazy, but yeah, grab some bits and pieces for a big vehicle build. But like I said, it's not super heavy, so I wouldn't go bigger than like a Space Marine Land Raider sort of size. But the next one after that will be a super heavy build. So grab what bits and pieces you can. I'll make the video for that soon enough. That will give you the exact rules, the details, the prizes, the dates. I think we're looking at 6 weeks I planned for the build. So you'll have the whole of September and then 2 weeks of October. So that it'll be done in the middle of October, or we'll see. We'll see what way it goes with folks. But I will be building long witches. Hopefully I'll actually get it finished this bloody time. I won't be doing a scratch build. I'm going to be doing a conversion. I have a miniature. I have lined up for a decent conversion. An old eBay find that I have. And we'll have a bash there. So scour the eBays, find something cheap. Scratch build. Gather your bits and pieces, but do not start building yet. Like I said, it's going to be very strict rules about the building timeline and the stipulations. And I'm going to be strict on the size as well. So get your gubbins together, gents. Hans Gruber found a Beyblade in the loft ready for looting. Well, that will be for the next one, Hans. Don't use that for this one. It'd be too big. But for the super heavy build, that, you know, good basis of a skull hammer. Let's save that for the next one, because we'll do a super heavy build after this one. So if you want to do a super heavy vehicle, it wouldn't be for this build. This is going to be a large vehicle build. So like I said, nothing bigger than a Land Raider. I'll give you the details on exactly in a video. But if you want to do super heavy vehicles, that will be the next one. So if you have a super heavy vehicle in mind, save it for the next build off. Which will probably be near this, you know, starting next year, probably, you know, just, you know, after February, March-ish, somewhere along there. We'll give it a bit of space again in between, and that'll probably run a little bit longer to give people more time to work on a bigger project again. So that's it for tonight's stream. Thanks for dropping by, guys. Thanks for sharing the work in progress. Hans Gruber is saying it's 12 quid now for the grots. Thanks for dropping in, sharing your progress. Thanks for keeping me company on the grots. I'll get these guys finished up a bit more, and we'll try and get the skin done. I'll probably get myself a coffee or two, and I might stream on Twitch me painting, and jump into Discord. I might do a bit of that. So there's no harm in that either. And then eventually down the line we'll get some BattleTech stuff done. So thanks for joining this one, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. So take it easy, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Bye. End.